beat Nottingham Forest by 2-0 at the City Ground yesterday in a very up and down performance, very up and down game. I thought Forest, they came out the traps well, and I think they probably should be proud of their performance yesterday. But in terms of Tottenham's situation yesterday, I think that there's definitely massive room for improvement, but I think getting over the line time and time again, getting those 3 points with a lot of scope for improvement is a good thing in my opinion.
No, I have to agree. And I think that, in terms of the overall performance and how the game went, I said after the game, I expected a lot of people to be critical of the performance and how we played, and think that maybe we got away with one. But I didn't really see it that way. Well, how I did see it is, yet again, for the third game in a row now, you could argue fourth game in a row for every game this season, we've been star out the traps. We've, for some reason, we cede control to the opposition in first halves. We allow them to dictate a bit too much of the play early on, and it's almost as if we always feel our way into the game before we really show our hand in a way. It's almost like I don't know whether it's a plan or not, but for some reason when we start the games, we're a bit like low energy. We're kind of feeling out the opposition. We kind of give them the ball to kind of I don't know. Look, it's not. I don't know if it's a plan, but what kind of gives off the impression is like we give them the ball, we tell them, look, show us what you got. We're going to give you like control for this first half, and then second half we come out like a different team, different energy, a different way of competing. It's like we try to feel out the opposition, see their weak points, and then go for it in the second half and exploit it. And I think first halves we have been getting away with it, and we did get away with it yesterday in the first half. We were not good. We scored an early goal, had a few other chances on the counter, but other than that, it was all Forest piling on the pressure, and it only seemed a matter of time before we were going to concede. But luckily for us, we didn't concede, and second half we took control back. Yeah, they had probably one chance in the second half from Yates. Yates had a header near the edge of the area, and also Nico Williams just after the penalty was saved. He had another chance when Adrenaline was on Forest's side. But apart from that, all the running and all the chances were created by us, and I think we deservedly got the second goal when we did. And we could have got it before at that moment as well. So I think for me, overall, we deserved the win, but we got to figure out why in these first halves they keep going the way that they are, because there's going to be one game where we're just going to be 3-0 down at half time, and then we're going to have to face up to it.
Yeah, the facts of the matter is that with the quality that we've got going forward, we're always going to be a danger. Always going to be a danger. I mean, yesterday, even in the first half, when you say that Nottingham Forest maybe had the better of the play and were controlling it, we were still creating chances on that break. Yeah. And every time Forest were coming at us and we picked them off, and every time we were finding opportunities. And even though we could have scored a few goals in that first half, and that's what really kind of makes me happy in terms of moving forward into the season, knowing that we do have those players going forward, and we've even got players like Richarlison on the bench that can make a difference if one of our players aren't performing well, and they can come into the starting lineup without dropping the quality too much. But having those players on the break, having those players going forward when we're not playing too well, that can get us out of the gel, is going to be a massive, massive difference for us this season, I believe. Even though we did have 3 of them last season, one of them coming in January. But I think you got to say that you got to be happy with the way things are going. Maybe not in terms of the way we're playing. I think when you're looking at the way we're playing, there is only one way, and that is only going to go up. We can't get any. I don't think we can get worse than the way we are, the way we're playing at the moment.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's been that bad that it can't get any worse. I really don't. I don't subscribe to that. I think it depends how you look at the performance, how you look at the game, because. Yeah, look, first halves haven't been great, and I grant you that, but second halves have been very good. I think in each game, I think we've much improved in the second half, and I think in each second half, maybe barring Chelsea, where it was probably first half we were terrible and second half a bit more even, I think every game has been first half poor, and then second half we've been utterly dominant.
I think, yeah, look, when I say it can't get worse, I don't mean I don't mean like, we're going to we can't turn into a terrible team, which, well, actually I do mean that, because I don't think we can turn into a terrible team with the quality that we got, with the manager that we got. I don't think he would let it get to anything less than what it is now. I think the first half that we're seeing is literally like below the baseline of what we expect as Spurs fans, and to get ourselves out of it every single time is a positive step, a really positive step. And if we can get performances when only turning up to like half of games, when we do improve, we're going to be turning up into full lengths of games. We're going to be really dominating for 90 minutes or close to 90 minutes. And I think it's only going to get better. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I get that. But I think maybe as well, when it comes to the manager that we have and the way we're playing, I mean, do people expect us to be prime like Guardiola and Klopp? Because that's just not how Conte plays. That's not his system. That's not how he sees the game. And how he sees the game it's in a different way. He's a lot more willing than Klopp or Guardiola to not have the ball for long periods. He's a lot more. We've seen that in games even against Man City. We've seen that in games against other opposition. We're a lot more willing to be a lot more defensively resolute and concede possession, and then be more dangerous when we do have the ball than we are the other side. So I think people see us, especially Tottenham fans, see us even against games where against Forest, where the possession isn't the best and we're conceding possession, and people think it's a criticism and it's something that we're not prepared for. But I think by and large we are prepared for it. Even in the game yesterday, Forest did have chances, but I think all of them were very difficult chances to score. I don't think they had an easy chance. Even their best chances were still very difficult. And I think that's all very much a plan from Conte to make it difficult for the opposition to get proper shots on goal. I mean, they had one shot on target all game, and that was a shot from outside the box. You could say, that was down to poor finishing, but I'd argue a lot of it is down to how we're set up defensively. And I think that's been the case. Maybe you could argue, apart from the Chelsea game, that's been the case from all our games this season.
Yeah, but look, I get that, and maybe people expectations, and I think people's expectations in terms of performance should be a bit more. I think when you look at the back end of last season, I think we were dominating games a lot more than we are now. I think we were conceding maybe less chances, even though we're not conceding many high quality chances at the moment. And obviously we're also scoring a few more goals as well at the back end of last season. So I think you can definitely see that there's massive room for improvement in this team. And once we do improve, we're going to be absolutely so dominant and so unplayable. I really believe it. I really believe that we can get to that level this season. I'm not saying that we're going to go on a title charge or anything like that, but I think that what we're showing at the moment, there is so much room for improvement, and we saw it at the back end of last season, how much we can improve and how much this team can improve. And with the additions of the signings that we've made, with Bissouma coming into the middle, with Perisic on the left wing back, with Longley still to come in, and Richarlison still to fully integrate himself, I think there's so much to be excited about as a Spurs fan. And I'm not reading too much into like these displays at the moment. I'm just so happy with the way that we're getting over the line, and people are kind of comparing it to last season, the first 3 games under Nuno. And I don't transcribe to that whatsoever. I mean, when we were the first 3 games under Nuno, yeah, fair enough, we won first 3 games and didn't concede a goal, but the performances were nowhere near what we're showing now. Now we're dangerous. At any moment of the game, we can spring on the team and on the break and get a goal. Then we were getting 1 shot on target a game. You know what I mean? It was a completely different kettle of fish, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that also the stats bear that out. I mean, if you look at the expected goals from last season, it was very different to what it is now. And you not even that. Just look at the performances of Harry Kane. I mean, Harry Kane was putting in disaster class after like terrible performances. Couldn't score for love nor money when Nuno was here, and it's just completely different kettle of fish now with Antonio Conte at the helm. So that in itself is enough for to show a difference. I think when you're comparing these performances I'm seeing now to back end of last season, it depends what game you point at, because you look at the Villa game, how many chances we conceded in that game. We end up winning 4-0. There were, Newcastle at home, I remember first half we were not very good, we ended up winning 5-1. I think it's very similar, and I think it makes sense that we're seeing very similar performances right now. because we're playing the same team. We haven't integrated any of our signings. The only improvement is we have better depth now. So later in the game, we have even more quality we have to have a second wind, which maybe last season wasn't necessarily the case. But I think people understand. I think right now, I would probably argue maybe. I don't think it's control, but I do think we're conceding a few too many chances or shots on goal for my liking, I would say. And I think that's something that we're going to have to put right. But on the flip side, I still think the chances we are conceding are fairly low quality chances, albeit quite a lot of them. They are fairly low quality. And whenever we do go forward, we are, I wouldn't say we're opening up teams at will, but what I would say is we're definitely creating better quality chances than the opposition and creating better openings, and we're looking more likely to score. So that has to be credited. I think that has to be down to the coaching staff, how we're set up, because we're set up in a way that makes us look very dangerous going forward, and going back the other way, as much as maybe we're conceding control, it's still very hard for the opposition to score even now. And that's proven by 2 clean sheets. And I think it's 8 goals conceded in the last 15 games. So we know we're unbeaten away from home since that Man United game.
Not only are we unbeaten at home since that away from home since that Man United game, not only that, but since March we've taken the most points out of anyone in the Premier League.
Exactly. So people saying these performances are unsustainable and things like that. It's gonna catch up to us. I mean, it hasn't yet. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think. I think that when people are laying into this Spurs team, I think it's just a bit overhyped at the moment. And I think Spurs are quietly confident doing what they're doing, picking up points week in, week out at the moment, have been picking up points week in, week out pretty much since March as well. So I think that Spurs, look, like I said, there is a big scope to improve in terms of the way we're playing, but you've got to be happy with the way we're playing and how often we're picking up these points as well. So I think it's a major plus. And I think once we get to grips with the way that we fully want to play, and once we integrate these signings, I think you're going to see a different Tottenham as well.
And what I would say as well is that people have to realise that the way Conte's teams play, obviously they do have games where we are going to dominate possession and look really good, like for example when we beat Everton 5-0 and stuff like that. We are going to have those games, but there are going to be games where we don't have the ball. That's just how Conte plays. And the great thing about Conte's teams are they can be just as effective without the ball as they can be with the ball in transition. And people can't mistake a lack of possession for a lack of control. And I think sometimes they do that. Albeit yesterday, we maybe lacked a bit more control than I would have liked. Granted, I'm just saying in general, I think people see us lacking possession and think we don't have control of the game because of that. And I don't think that's not a fair reflection of how we play a lot of the time under Antonio Conte. And I think people see Guardiola and the way they play and think you have to have possession to have control of the game, because that's how he does it. But I don't necessarily think that's true all the time, especially with the manager that we have.
Do you think the narrative would be the same from the Spurs fan base if Arsenal weren't top of the league with a 100% record?
Maybe not.
If Arsenal had a poor start to the season, let's say, and they were like mid-table or whatever, and we were joint level on top of the league with 10 points, do you reckon the narrative would be the same?
Probably not. I think the fact that Arsenal are playing good football at the moment and are top of the league with a 100% record probably has people think, oh, why can't we do that? Why can't we control each game and whatever? But look, each team has a different process, and they've had their fixtures. We've played who we've played. I would argue we've had the much tougher fixtures so far, and we're only 2 points behind. I would argue as well, as much as I know Arsenal won the game on Saturday, but they also struggled. They got they got 2 goals which were quite fortuitous, and that's how it goes sometimes. I'm not saying they didn't deserve to win, but
it also showed, like, you take one important player out of their team, that guy that they have in central midfield, and they look like much more disjointed than they have done in the first 3 games of the season. And
I think maybe. Obviously, they've have played some really good football, especially Leicester at home. They were playing really well, and Bournemouth away. They wiped the floor with them.
Yeah, but who hasn't played good football against Leicester and Bournemouth?
Exactly. These are two of the worst starters so far this season in the league. No one's really started a lot worse than these two teams, and I think we just got to concentrate on ourselves. I know Arsenal are doing well, but they lose one game, we win one, and we're above them. It's just 2 points. It's 4 games in, and I think people maybe have to get used to the way we play and just appreciate that, as opposed to always hoping we're doing something else, like hoping we have more possession and play football a different way. This is the manager who's had a proven track record of getting results with these methods and how he plays.
And has won this league with those methods as well.
Has won these leagues, won various trophies. So I know everyone wants to be prime Guardiola, but that's not always possible. And this is how we play. So I really believe this is the best method for this Tottenham team to try and get results. I believe that.
In terms of key moments in the game yesterday, which one do you want to go for? There was quite a few. But let's start off, I guess, with the first goal, Spurs' first goal. I mean, what did you make out of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was all made by Kulusevski. It was a bit of luck how it happened, really, if the ball forced him in the centre circle. But for him to have the presence of mind to pick out Harry Kane, where I think 9 out of 10 players in that league in that position probably go out wide to Sonny in that position. The easy pass, he's open, even though he's got a couple men on him. He's wide open on the left.
The vision, man. It's the vision. And you know what with Kulusevski? He picks the right pass pretty much every single time. The vision in his mind, the vision in his brain, the football IQ he has is absolutely brilliant. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday, Kulusevski. And he was growing and growing. I mean, he was a bit unplayable at times. I thought maybe he could have done a bit more in terms of goals. He could have scored goals yesterday. He could have assisted more goals yesterday. But I thought he had a brilliant performance. Yeah,
I think first half, a bit like the whole Spurs team, it was a bit quiet after that assist. Didn't really influence the game as much. But second half, I thought I was actually looking at the heat map and his positioning in the second half compared to the first half. Wasn't it? A lot more further up. Really high, a lot higher up, even further up than Kane and Son. He was our furthest player forward a lot of the time. And I think you saw that on the right hand side. He kept getting isolated one-on-one with their right back, or with their. Sorry, he plays on the right for us with their left back. And a lot of the time he got the beating of him. And I agree with you. The only shame is he got the beating of him like on 3 or 4 occasions, and the shot was either blocked or the pass was a bit off to the back post and stuff. And with someone with his left foot, you expect either to force the keeper into a few more saves or get a few more good crosses in there, which was a bit disappointing. But I thought he was giving Forest no end of trouble throughout the whole second half. And the first half, that his vision, as you say, came to the fore. How we spotted Harry Kane, I don't know. It was definitely the harder pass.
Between two players as well. Brilliant. So nice.
It was brilliant, and it meant that Kane can just take one touch and fire into the far corner. That Kane finish, by the way, on the stretch, I know a bit bobbly, but to get that accuracy on the stretch like that outside the box, Henderson couldn't even move. It was an underrated finish, I think, from Harry Kane. Really good stuff from him.
The angle we had on it was so beautiful. Yeah. We were literally like in line with it. We could see it like literally just curling into the bottom corner. It was unstoppable, really.
Yeah, it was. And I think, look, that was in the 4th minute or something. We took the lead really early. We always call for us to have fast starts, and we did this time, and it still didn't make too much of a difference. After that, Forest definitely got control of the game, but they did. But I can't remember too many really clear-cut chances they had. Brennan Johnson had a header, which was fired at him about 12 yards out. That was put wide. I can't remember. And I know Nico. I did feel like, to be honest, most of their good opportunities were coming down Perisic's side, and that's probably something that wasn't talked about enough. I did think Perisic defensively struggled a tad on that side. I felt like he wasn't pinning Nico Williams back and anywhere near enough in the first half, and he was inviting
Feels anything,
pressure.
it was the other way around.
Yeah, Nico Williams was pinning him back, and I think again I was looking at the heat map, and Perisic is compared to last week against Wolves, where he was in the heat map, he was like a left winger. He was like a left back this time, a lot pen back, and then in the second half it was completely switched. He was like a left winger again, and that must have been instruction from her, Antonio Conte. But I don't remember too many other chances in the first half anyway that Forest had, really clear-cut chances, apart from that Brennan Johnson chance. It was nothing too... Again, no, Lloris didn't have to make some saves, but they did have a lot of the running, which was worrying.
He was impressive, by the way, Brennan Johnson. I was watching him quite closely, and I was really impressed with what I saw. And I think he's, to make that transition from the Championship so quickly, and I've been quite impressed with him all season, to be honest, for Forest. I think he's going to be a really good player, and he's definitely one that we should keep our eye out for in the future, potentially. Other players...
And Gibbs White as well played well, didn't he?
Gibbs White as well, yeah. He also had a good game. But other moments and players that we want to talk about, the penalty. Let's talk about the penalty, because what the hell was that decision? They go back to VAR, they look at it, they don't... They stay with the yellow card decision. It's like I've watched it again 100 times, and I still can't fathom in my mind how that is not a red card.
Yeah, the argument was that if Cook didn't... First of all, I think it's a deliberate handball. I pretty much... I can't think of another time like it. That doesn't seem like a... handball where it's like he's trying to block a shot and his arm's extended a bit, and you can say, okay, look, it's a penalty, but it's accidental. Like, he had his arm so high up above his head, higher than Harry Kane's head, and he flicked over Kane. How is that not deliberate? Like, Kane was literally about to head it home. Okay, if you're going to say it's accidental, that's fine. I mean, I can get over that decision, but denying a goal scoring opportunity, I don't know how they could justify that. The justification was that they believed the cross wasn't going to get to Harry Kane. They believe it was going to go over Harry Kane. It was literally
landing on his head. I mean,
don't understand. The trajectory of the ball was so clearly going to get to Kane. It was an easy tap-in for him. It was a guaranteed goal. Yeah. So I think from that point of view, it was a bit of a farcical decision. I think it had to be a red. I think they got that horribly wrong.
I heard someone say that the cross was too high and it wouldn't have reached Kane. I was just like, what the hell are you on about?
I don't know what they're watching.
Who said that?
The VAR.
That's ridiculous.
That's the VAR claiming. That's what they claim. They claim that he wasn't going to reach it.
I'll tell you what, the level of officiating in this league is so bad. It really is so bad. Like, week in, week out, we are seeing terrible decisions, literally, in a lot of games, week in, week out in this league. But anyway, the penalty gets given, and Harry Kane steps up and misses, and it was actually a poor penalty.
Yeah, it wasn't one of his best. I wouldn't say it was like horrific, but it wasn't.
Look, it wasn't Jedson Fernandez.
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
be honest.
No, but
for Harry Kane's quality, it's poor.
Yeah, you expect, he hits the corner every time, doesn't he? And whenever he doesn't hit the corner, you have to question it. So I think it was more of a good save than a poor penalty. But you've got to say Kane, when his ruthlessness from the spot, him not getting it in the corner like that. I think he struck it well, good power, but unfortunately the height was a bit too good for Henderson. He gets the right way and it wasn't in the corner. And whenever that happens, you've got a chance of saving it. And that's exactly what happened. That's his second penalty save of the season already for Henderson. Fair play to him. But I think that's what Kane's first penalty miss in 5 years, I think.
Wow.
Since I think Southampton, maybe. Was it Southampton?
I can't remember who it was. Yeah, I do remember him missing one.
I think only 3 keepers, they said, have saved Harry Kane penalties. Henderson, Adrian, and who was the other one?
What, did he miss one against West Ham?
He missed. He scored the rebound.
Oh.
He missed one against West Ham and scored the rebound. I can't remember who missed the other one. Can't remember off the top of my head.
Anyway, that's 3 penalties.
Uncharacteristically of Kane, but he made up for it later on, didn't he?
He did make up for it later on, but let's say it's all about Richarlison, that goal. I mean, that cross outside of the boot, bang on the money on Harry Kane's head, and it was an easy finish for Harry Kane, let's be honest.
He had an eventful cameo, didn't he?
Richarlison, I love this guy. I'm growing to love him so much. And you know what? I've been having a lot of conversations about this kick up fiasco that everyone's going mad about. I mean, Carragher and Martin Tyler and all these fans from across social media and stuff coming out and calling this guy a disgrace and all this kind of stuff and how bad it was. And I mean, like, come on, get a grip of yourself, guys. I mean, he did a few kick ups on a football pitch. Like, I don't understand what this narrative is about how much of a villain they're painting him out to me because of a few kick-ups. It blows my mind.
Yeah, I think it's a bit overblown, that whole narrative. From my opinion, when I see showboating like that, I want to see you doing it in a way where you're trying to get an advantage from it. Like, I didn't see that from Richarlison. To be honest, he did seem to be just taking the piss. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not surprised he was completely wiped out. Having said that, I think these elements are getting taken out of the game. People are getting these individual brilliance moments like that. They're getting the football's getting more and more sanitized. When you see Ronaldinho doing those like tricks and flip flaps, you don't see those things as often. And seeing moments to try and entertain the crowd shouldn't be criticized as heavily as they are. But what I would say is that for me, when I see those showboating moments, I think you should do them in a way where you're trying to like get the better of a player or trying to get in on goal or things like that, in a way to try and get the advantage by doing something special. By doing something what Richarlison did, he was pretty much just taking the piss out of Forest, in my opinion.
The fact of the matter is, it's 5 minutes to go. We're 2-0 up. We need to waste some time, and that's what he does to waste time. He draws the foul, and does waste time. He does waste time, and for me, like, if you go into the corner flag and start protecting the ball, that's just another way of doing what he did, in my opinion. All it is a wasting time mechanism. And no one, when they go into the corner flag and start wasting time, no one goes, "Oh, what a disgrace to football it is! What a disgrace!" Da, 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 all this madness that was going on about Richarlison yesterday.
I don't know. I don't.
It's just a more extravagant way of showing it.
Maybe. I mean, you could argue that, I would say, but I think he was pretty much doing kick-ups under no pressure. I'm not saying he was wrong to do it. I'm just saying I can understand why, if you're a Forest player, like, is he really going to be surprised as a Forest player after doing that? He isn't going to get a lump kicked out of him. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, look. You're going to get a lump kicked out of you, but you're going to get a lump kicked out of you for less as well. But at the end of the day, he's frustrating them, and his plan was to frustrate them, and it was plan worked. It was plan worked, and he wasted time. He frustrated Forest. He drew a foul. So I mean, what more do you want? It was plan achieved.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying that it probably was a bit disrespectful. Do I care that our players are being disrespectful to the opposition? Not particularly. As long as it's we get the 3 points and they don't like get ahead of themselves in that moment, which I don't think they did, then it's fine. Whatever. If you're pissing off the opposition and they're getting frustrated and they ended up lashing out and getting a yellow, then you're right. The plan worked. But all I'm saying is that it probably was a bit disrespectful to the opposition, but whatever. I don't really care about it. I'm not. I love Richarlison. As long as he's on my team, I don't really care, and that's the main thing. And I think it was a nice bit of I think it was probably overblown anyway. It was a few kick-ups. It is what it is, but
literally the whole action lasted about 3 seconds. It was
but what my only point is, he just did it in the corner, not trying to under no pressure, if you know what I mean. If he did it in a way where he was trying to get into the box or something, and then does a nice little skill, try and get in a shot on goal, but he wasn't even trying to do that. He was just doing it to waste time.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, we needed to waste time at that point in the game. 5 minutes to go, just scored our second goal. Run down the clock and be professional about things. Maybe it was a bit unprofessional to do kick-ups, but it's professional in that stage of the game to waste time and to run down the clock.
Yeah, wasting time, that's fine.
So why is it okay why is it not okay to waste time by doing a few kick-ups, but it is okay to waste time by going in the corner flag and shielding the ball? What's the difference?
I'm not saying both are okay. I mean, I'm just saying that.
So why has there been this whole massive thing about Richarlison?
Because he seemed to be taking the piss. That's
Let him
it.
take the piss. It's
When
football.
in
You know
the
what I mean?
corner
It's a
flag,
game at the
it's
end
not
of the
taking
day.
the piss. That's just what that's the best way. Look, could we have wasted time without him doing kick-ups?
Yeah, we could
Probably
have. We could have, but still, that's the way he chose to waste time, and then he shouldn't be villainized because of it.
No, it shouldn't be villainized. But if you saw an Arsenal player do that, you're gonna say they're taking the piss. And
Yeah, no. If I saw an Arsenal player do that, I'm just thinking to myself, what a prick, and I'm not going on saying, oh, what a disgrace to football and all this kind of stuff.
No, I don't think he's a disgrace to football. I don't agree with that anymore. So someone says, see, this is my point. Someone Luke in this says, so no more nutmegging Sim. But my point, this is exactly my point. What does a nutmeg do? It gets you around the opposition player and gets you an advantage, right? That's what it does. So it's like a piece of skill to get an advantage on the opposition to put you in a better position to get a shot on goal or something. What Richarlison did wasn't getting himself an advantage or anything. It was just
it was kind of getting the team an advantage. It was getting the team an advantage. It was running down the clock and also drawing a foul and getting a yellow card.
If Richarlison put his foot on the ball and didn't move, right? Yeah, is that what's the difference between that and doing kick-ups? Why is it more advantage to do kick-ups than that?
What do you mean if he just put his foot on the ball?
When Richarlison got the ball,
yeah,
right, instead of doing kick-ups, if he just got his foot on the ball, right, what advantage would he have got from doing the kick-ups rather than just doing that?
Well, when you do the kick-ups, you're winding up the opposition, and they're more likely. But that's the whole point of the whole thing, and that's why we like it.
That's my point. So it was disrespectful. Like he was.
But is winding up the opposition disrespectful? Does it is any sort of winding up the opposition supposed to be classified as disrespectful?
Why would it wind up the opposition?
Because they get frustrated.
Because it's disrespectful. That's why. If obviously they get frustrated by wasting time.
Though? Why
if
is
you
it
waste
disrespectful?
time, they're going to get frustrated, but they're not going to feel disrespected because they understand. But because basically what you're kind of saying is, oh, this game's so easy, I'm just going to do kick-ups, so you can't do anything. That's why it's disrespectful.
And he got proved right.
Huh?
And he got proved right.
I mean, yeah, you got clobbered, which I expect from when you're doing that, and so it is what it is. Look, I don't have too much of an issue with it. It's just I can understand why I don't think he should be villainized for it. I don't think he's a bad person or whatever, but I think he's got to realise the perception of what the opposition will think, and I would have preferred him do kick-ups and try and score a goal by doing it or something. Apart from
it's coming, don't worry, Sim. It's coming.
Yeah, I hope so. And I like the fact that he was trying to bring a bit of entertainment. I don't mind that he's winding up the opposition, but as a neutral, but me and Tom as a Spurs fan, as a neutral, you're going to see him taking the piss. That's what you're going to see basically, and that's pretty much what he was doing.
Yeah, and I don't really have a problem with it. I really don't whatsoever, and I think that I almost welcome it. Actually, I think for so many years we've been this team where a soft touch, nice to watch. Other opposition fans, maybe apart from our main rivals, being like, oh, Tottenham a nice team to watch, loads of goals, blah blah blah. Now we're becoming a team where we've got players where the other opposition fans are going to really start to hate, like Richarlison, like Romero, and like a few other players on the team as well. So I'm loving what we're becoming, and I love stuff like that. And I think the more we wind up the opposition, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's going to get someone sent off, and I'm looking forward to that because he's going to work. I think, look, everyone... I think Everton fans said it, didn't they? If he's a player on your team, you love him. If he's against you, you hate him, and that's just a reality with Richarlison. I think we're even 4 games in.
We're starting
to see him.
Hasn't even started a game yet.
Exactly, he hasn't yet to start a game, and he's already boiling piss. Chelsea was doing it as well. And I think and you have to give him credit as well, just on Richarlison's performance-wise. Every game he's come on, he's making an impact. He's stretching the opposition. He's running in behind. He's dribbling at them, causing problems. And he's getting to the stage now where it's like when you've got tired legs, Richarlison is not the player you want to see coming on, and it's going to be a nuisance. Because even if like his touch is off or anything like that, which it might be, he's going to be hounding you. He's going to be closing everything down. He's going to be chasing after you. He's going to be drawing fouls. All these different things. Like even from a non-goal scoring, non-goal threat point of view, he is just an absolute nightmare to deal with. Then you add on to the fact that he got a brilliant assist, and hopefully he'll start contributing in front of goal as well and getting more shots on target and stuff like that. then all of a sudden we've got a very good player on our hands. But just from the fundamentals, as a player to come on to just ruffle some feathers, it's absolutely brilliant. And I think he's already proving to be a good signing for us so far. And hopefully, I think definitely I'm not sure if it's going to be next game or definitely in the next 2 games he'll start one of them for sure.
I think he's going to be starting at West Ham. I think Sonny, that actually moves us on to Sonny because we've had a lot of discussions over the last week about Sonny and his form. Conte's been speaking about it. And what's going on with Sonny at the moment? Because he seems to be really lacking in some sort of confidence. I mean, yesterday on the pitch, there were times where his instincts will just take over and he finishes the shot or he gets a really good ball in. But I felt he was just overplaying situations yesterday, taking too many touches, hesitating, not finishing the way he usually does. I mean, all points to signs of a player lacking in a bit of confidence.
I think the good thing is that he's still getting chances, and that's very positive. He's still getting the right positions. He's still doing a lot of the right things in that sense. But he does seem a bit off it in front of goal. There's no two ways about it. The chance he missed straight at Henderson last season, he would have buried that.
The one that was offside as well. He usually gobbles those up.
Yeah, he was almost had too much time to think about it. He was one-on-one. He tried a little dink over the keeper, got it wrong. I think another shot he tried in the first half, 25 yards out, was a good effort, but flashes just wide. I mean, I don't think he was like terrible. But when you're Heung-min's on and you're not as dangerous as you can be, there are going to be questions asked. And I don't think he started the season particularly well, and I think this is a continuation of it. I'm not worried about it because I know it's Sonny, and sometimes he goes through these periods where he's not completely on his game. I still think even in these periods he's a lot more dangerous than a lot of other Premier League players are in good periods. You know what I mean? If this could be a new signing for another team, and people would say, "Oh, he's looking really dangerous start of the season," but because it's Son and he's golden boot and he's so good, and we know how good he is, it's like, well, we know how good you can be, mate, and we're not seeing that, and that's fair enough. And maybe he does. Look, maybe he does need a breather on Wednesday, and especially in a very physical game, maybe Richarlison could really thrive off that as well.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, when you're looking at the front three at the moment, Harry Kane scoring all our goals at the moment. Kulusevski playing really well at the moment. Sonny is kind of the most poorly performing one out of the front three. You're looking at Richarlison, who's coming on and impacting games every time he comes on. I think you got to start Richarlison next game, in my opinion.
Yeah, you could argue Richarlison deserves it, which is, I think, because of what he's doing with his minutes on the pitch. But then again, he hasn't scored either yet. But
he's had a lack of minutes, let's be honest.
Yeah, he gets like 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there. So that's obviously an argument. But, I mean, yeah, I think Richarlison should probably start. One of the... Look, I'm not going to say if Conte starts on next game it's a mistake, but definitely one of the next two. I think because, look, it's a big, long season. We're going to need Richarlison to be starting games this season. He's going to get his fair share of starts now, Richarlison. So it could be on Wednesday, it could be on Saturday. I don't really care which one it is. At least one of the two.
And with the tempers are going to be very high on Wednesday night, as it always is in the West Ham Spurs game. And I think Richarlison can add that bit of edge, that bit of shithousery, maybe even potentially get a West Ham player sent off or something like that.
Yeah, get them frustrated.
So, you know what I mean? So I think it's actually a game tailor-made for Richarlison. But before we just finish off the match preview, because I know we've been going on for a while, Højbjerg and Bentancur in the middle of the park. Højbjerg, obviously the stats speak for itself for Pierre. He was absolutely unbelievable yesterday. There was one action in the game that just epitomised Højbjerg when that shot came in and he just threw himself at the ball and blocked the shot. And not only that, but even when he makes those simple passes in the middle of the park, he drives forward and really creates opportunities and openings for Spurs. And I'm loving Højbjerg at the moment. And go on, have your say on Højbjerg.
Yeah, I'm just amazed that people don't see all the good work he's doing. I saw a tweet from a few people yesterday saying how bad he played and how he wasn't up to it, and again another Højbjerg performance where he was sloppy and we need to replace him. I thought, what game are you watching, mate? He was brilliant yesterday.
You were waxing lyrical about him all day yesterday.
Mate, he was on top of his game. Look, of course, when it comes to Højbjerg, it's going to happen. There's going to be a couple sloppy passes that are going to stand out and people are going to groan at them or whatever, and you're going to think, oh, he's sloppy today, rubbish. But people overlook all the good work he does because of a few sloppy moments, and I think that is so not fair to a player who not only does he not get the credit for the defensive work, but everyone acknowledges he's quite good defensively, but I think on the ball as well he doesn't get the credit he deserves. That ball to Sessegnon for the second goal, which obviously led to the build up for the second goal, really good pass in behind, setting Sessegnon free. He played a really nice through ball to, I think it was to Kane, when that chance when I think it was Worrell tracked back and got a last-minute tackle.
Oh, what a challenge that was! Yeah.
Harry Kane was bearing down on goal. It was a really nice through ball from Højbjerg. He was doing these kind of passes all the time, and because they look simple, he doesn't get the credit for it. But he's doing it all the time, and a lot of the time as well, it comes off the back of him winning the ball in the centre of the park. In terms of tackles, he actually didn't win many tackles yesterday. But when it comes to ball recoveries in the middle of the park, I think he was top of the list, like 10 of them. He makes so many interceptions and so many recoveries that it's so important him doing that in transition. He's like nearly one of the best transition players in the league, in my opinion. And I think yesterday it was another prime example of him doing things that he's good at. I don't think we win that game if it wasn't for him being in that performance yesterday in the centre of the park. So for me, I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. He was my man of the match. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And I think, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I say it every week that I think he's been our most consistent ever since he got dropped for that Wolves game back in February. I think he's been our best centre mid for sure. And I don't know what people are seeing when they're saying he's rubbish. I don't see it. I think he's a very good player, and I think he's starting to show really consistently.
I completely agree. Nothing to say against that. In terms of Bentancur as well, people have been coming out and saying Bentancur wasn't good enough yesterday, and it's a weird one because I'm seeing fans that were at the game being like how good Bentancur was, and I'm seeing fans that were watching on TV saying Bentancur wasn't good enough yesterday. I don't know what your opinion was of Bentancur, but I thought he had a really strong game yesterday. I really do, and I think that he was winning the ball many a time back in the midfield. Every time we went forward was starting off with one of his passes, spraying the ball, keeping things ticking along. I thought he was also driving forward, not too many times, but the few times that he did drive forward, I think it looked really good for us. But he, again, with Bentancur, he does have these moments where he's really sloppy on the ball and gives the ball away in really bad positions where it could come back to hurt us at some point. But I really think Bentancur played well yesterday.
Yeah, I think he was less sloppy than in the first half against Wolves than he was against Forest. I think he was less sloppy against Forest than he was against Wolves. I think, again, he kept it simple. I don't remember too many times where I saw him get on the ball and drive forward and things like that. Happened maybe one or two times. But what he's very good at, he plays these little simple passes. He appreciates space really well, Bentancur. And he's not going to be the most eye-catching midfielder in terms of doing Hollywood things a lot of the time in the middle, although I think his calmness and composure gets him out of a lot of situations. But what he does is he really appreciates space. He really knows where on the pitch to turn, where the space is. When he can literally play a 5-yard pass next to him and it can open up the whole pitch because of where the space is. And I think he's very good at that, just playing ball into someone's stride who can charge forward, and all of a sudden the space is opened up. And I think yesterday, again, that was case in point in a lot of our attacks in the transition. That was purely because Bentancur was playing either into Højbjerg or into someone very close to him, and the space was opened up. I think off the ball as well, as per usual, I don't think there's ever been a game, even in his poor games, where he's been bad off the ball. I think every game he puts in the top effort, and he's always usually winning a lot of tackles and interceptions and stuff like that in the centre. So I think that was again a case of that. when it comes to our centre mids, it's always going to be a point of discussion. Do they do enough on the ball? Because they're not goal-scoring midfielders, and we have two of them, and we rely heavily on our wing-backs and our forwards to get the goals and assists, and that's just reality of Conte's system. I think we have to start getting used to it. I think so. When it comes to Højbjerg and Bentancur getting shots off, doing stuff like that, I think Højbjerg does quite a lot on the ball, but I think Bentancur probably doesn't do that much. But
that's a source of frustration for me, because with the quality that he does have, Bentancur, we saw it in the first few games where he was playing those Hollywood balls forward and stuff like that. He doesn't do enough of that, and he's got the quality to do it. So that's my only gripe with Bentancur at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's got more quality than Højbjerg in terms of technically and stuff like that. But Højbjerg is the one. If you see who does more through balls and who does more attacking things, it's clearly Højbjerg. He's the one. But actually, Bentancur, I think, when it comes to shooting technique, passing technique, I think he's actually stronger than Højbjerg. Yeah. But that's the beauty, because Højbjerg is the one, because he does it. Makes these simple things very well. He actually is more effective in those situations than Bentancur, even though Bentancur has better technique. Because I feel like maybe Højbjerg is willing to be more risky. Bentancur keeps it more safe a lot of the time, and that leads to Højbjerg doing making a few passes which stand out as being poor. But then again, a lot of the time he's going to make the through balls because he's making more risky passes, and they're going to come off more often than not. Whereas Bentancur plays it safer a lot more.
He's a bit risk adverse, isn't he? And I think that once Bissouma comes fully integrated in this squad, I do feel like Bentancur will come out of the team for Bissouma.
It's a rotation game.
It is a rotation game.
They're all going to be used. They're all going to be used. And that's also another positive thing. Again, Perisic is now pretty much he's integrated into the team, which is good. But we've still got Longley, we've still got Bissouma, we've still got Richarlison, we've still got Spence, all to be getting minutes.
I like the look of Spence when he came on yesterday, by the way.
Apart from that shot.
Apart from that shot, apart from that shot, but I thought he showed amazing pace, first of all, and his willingness to drive forward. I want to see him start a game. I really do, because I got a feeling like Conte is a bit stubborn in his ways sometimes, in terms of this player is not ready for the first team, where I feel like if Spence was to play, he would prove Conte wrong.
It's hard to know. It is hard to know. And I think, again, we have to give credit to our current wing-backs, because I think they're playing well anyway. Look, you could argue in Conte's system, they're not perfect for it, and I think that's still an argument. But I don't have a massive problem with Emerson right now.
Defensively, he's brilliant. Defensively, he's brilliant.
Didn't get forward too much yesterday.
That's the problem, isn't it?
But he usually does get forward. It's about what he does when he does get forward. That's usually the problem. But yesterday, he didn't even get forward, which was unlike Emerson. Doherty, he hasn't played any minutes yet this season, so maybe he's feeling his way back into the team after that long injury. So I mean, when it comes to Spence, it's hard to know. He looked okay when he came on, but the fact that he completely missed that shot wasn't great, because that should have been a goal, to be honest. But hopefully he starts getting opportunities, and I think he will. I wouldn't be surprised if Forest away in the Cup he starts that game. He gets the opportunity to start, because I don't know if he'll be starting any Champions League games anytime soon. I do think in that Cup game he'll start, and I think Bissouma is going to get his first start in one of these next two games as well. I'm not sure which one, but one of them. And Longley as well. I think as well, he's one which is going under the radar about how effective he might be able to be in this system.
Having said that, Ben Davies had a really good game in my opinion yesterday.
He did, and Ben Davies has been solid under Conte. So again, no complaints, but the always thing is we needed competition for him. And I think Longley could be very good in that role. I really believe that.
There's actually one more thing I want to touch on before we move on, and that's Davinson Sanchez. 9 hours now. No goals conceded in the Spurs shirt for Big Dave, and I thought yesterday every time the ball came in the box he was the one getting it away, and I thought he was imperious yesterday, really, Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah, again, another really good performance, and I actually think he was calmer on the ball than usual as well.
There are a few dodgy moments there.
There was one in the penalty area where he just took a swipe at it out of nowhere under no pressure as well, and he got away with it because it fell back to him when it could have gone anywhere. But I think all in all, apart from that moment, all in all, he was actually a lot better. And I was actually looking at There's something on. There's something they've developed this. These numbers they've developed another expected thing called XG chain, expected goals chain, which is basically they calculate
XG Unchained.
Exactly, they calculate where moves start from. If a shot comes from it, then that gets added to your XG chain basically, and a lot of it was coming from Sanchez. They noticed nearly 1 XG, whole XG was coming from moves that he was involved in. So that's going to show he is starting to get a lot better on the ball, and I think his calmness was leading us to getting into more good situations going forward in the transitions and stuff like that. And you've got to give him credit. I think defensively, look, the problems we had defensively yesterday in terms of chances conceded were not down to him. They were down to midfield being overrun and them getting in behind the wing backs. So I think our centre backs were all fine, to be honest, from that point of view. And I think Sanchez again has come in admirably and had a very good game. And as you say, 9 hours not conceded, doesn't get the credit he deserves for that. And I think he's been a very able deputy for Romero. Having said that, I do think with Romero in the team, we'll probably have more control in games.
We'll have more control in games, and I think there'll be opportunities for us to bypass the midfield a bit easier with Romero there, with his ball playing ability and stuff like that. But we do seem to concede more goals with Romero in the team than with Sanchez in the team.
Yeah, well, he does play a lot more games, but yeah. I mean that's been the case over the past year, and that's, as I've said, I think Sanchez is very good defensively. So I think that's evidence of that. I think he goes under the radar how hard he could be to beat in situations, because I think physically he's very pacey, he's very strong, he's hard to outmuscle, he's hard to get past in one-on-one situations. So he's been very good for us defensively, and I think he deserves credit for that.
I was actually saying on a stream last week, I think it was the day that you weren't here, I said that Davinson Sanchez is one of the best backup centre-backs in the Premier League, and David Harris was not having any of it, and I still firmly believe it. I really do. I can't think of many backup centre-backs that are better than him.
What, you mean backup centre-backs?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would probably argue that Liverpool, City and Chelsea probably all have better centre-backs, backup centre-backs then. But apart from them, I don't know who else does. Maybe Arsenal. You could argue
Arsenal
Ben White.
Well, Ben White.
Maybe. I mean, he probably is. Is he? I don't know. Ben White's a bit overrated. Yeah. But look, I think Arsenal, I think Chelsea, City and Liverpool all have backup centre-backs.
Who's Chelsea's backup centre-backs?
Well, their centre-backs...
Chalobah and...
No, they started their centre-back... Their starting centre-backs are Koulibaly and Silva, and then they got Fofana coming in.
3.
Fofana's coming in, and Azpilicueta's there as well. So it's difficult to say that Sanchez is better than them.
What I'm saying is I don't think there are many. You know, there are going to be a few, but I don't think there are many that can come in to a centre-back role like Sanchez and you know, just step in admirably really well like he has done. I don't think there are many.
He's done a very good job. I'm not disputing that. Done a very good job.
But anyway, that was our match review, and a whole hour long for you guys to digest into today.